Bismillah Rahman Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Today we are going to talk about Pakistan India's unfriendly relations. Before this, in part one, we discussed about the friendly relations. And it's a compilation of different wars, different unfriendly events, and reasons why these two countries, which are a neighbor with a long border, are so unfriendly to each other since 1947. We are going to discuss all the details in upcoming slides, and it's a compilation of complete history and history of wars and different kind of clashes with all the pictorials and rest of very interesting details. Before we move ahead, subscribe the channel, share it with your friends, and press the bell icon button to see more interesting videos coming in this reference. Now, as we are going to start about Pakistan India's unfriendly relations. Now, before starting that, let's see how long border is there between two of these countries. Now, if we see this map, we will be able to find that this part is Kashmir, some part of it is with India, and while some part is with Pakistan. And it's a long border of eastern part of Pakistan, while India's western border, northwestern border, is connected to Pakistan. And this is the place where sometimes wars have been happening. And now let's see the history and details of those wars. But before that, now let's see what the start was. If we see this picture, we can see people who are coming to Pakistan from India on these trains, and we can see by this picture we can understand the situation. There are no words to explain such a situation, how much in panic these people were running from India to Pakistan. And why? Because these Muslims were killed in India, tortured in India, they were looted, and they had only refuge, that was Pakistan. They were forcefully pushed to Pakistan, and it was a kind of punishment which was given to them to establish a separate independent country. Before this, it was one complete country. In 1947, this green part and this one were separated from India, and these became independent on the basis of Muslim country. But a large population of Muslims was living in this orange part of India also. They wanted to stay in their homes, but they were forced, and they were so brutally treated by Indian public and Indian political parties and Indian government of that time. It is 1947 about which I'm talking, that they had to rush towards Pakistan, and in this manner this was the situation. So if this kind of start was there, and when they reached to Pakistan, many of them had lost their lives. So when this kind of sad relations were there, it was the beginning. We can understand what kind of situation may be later on. So mostly the time was in wars. This is the Lahore border, which is there. It is known as Wagah border, and we can see the gates. These are Indian soldiers, Indian soldiers, Pakistani soldiers, and we can see that with the help of these gates, we can see that both of these countries are boundary wise separated from each other. But in the very beginning, in the first speech of Governor General Quaid-e-Azam, it was declared that India had unfairly occupied many areas of Pakistan which were Muslim majority areas, and especially the area of Gurdaspur, which was a Muslim majority area, many other areas like that. And that area basically gave way to India to enter in Kashmir, and since then 87% Kashmiri Muslims are pressurized by India. There is a video about Kashmiri Muslims and their right of plebiscite and then tortures they are facing, and United Nations efforts, that can be placed as a reference, so you can watch it later on. Now let's move ahead with different kind of events which happened in these unfriendly relations. In 1948, as Pakistan was established in 1947, in 1948 first war was fought, and official control line was declared between Kashmir, and some part of that was liberated by Kashmiri Muslims, but most of that was occupied by India. At that time, when both of these countries were fighting against each other, United Nations interfered, and they stopped the war, and that is known as that war, where the war was stopped in 1948. That is still control line. Still both armies are standing before each other, and Kashmiris are fighting for their freedom, and they want to be liberated. But India is forcing them, killing them, and in result of killing of Muslim families, they are giving those lands to Hindu families to increase the ratio and number of Hindus in the valley of Kashmir, while Pakistan is constantly agitating against it. In 1954, then after almost 8-9 years, it happened that India again tried to integrate Kashmir. They tried to change the status of Kashmir from the valley, and they tried to merge it in India. So Pakistan again started voicing against it at international forums, and relations deteriorated. Then in 1957, because of Pakistan's constant request, United Nations declared this thing, that they had seen and investigated the problems, and they had come to know that public wanted to be with Pakistan, and it was decided that under the supervision of United Nations, there will be a plebiscite. Plebiscite means that public opinion will be taken about this matter, that if Kashmiris wanted to be with Pakistan or wanted to be with India. But that matter is still lingering. This is the situation we can see. This is the Valley of Kashmir. This kind of land is there. This kind of houses are there. People are very poor. Location is very difficult to live. While many of the Indian soldiers with their tanks and with all the ammunition are here to pressurize these people. Some of them came to Pakistan in Azad Jammu and Kashmir, but most of them are still in problem in that area. Then that tension continued. Then after some time in 1965, Pakistan was convinced that India was not going to do anything with the peace about Kashmir problem. So Pakistan started moving its forces on the line of control. When war was not started, but the number of forces was increased on this border. And India had the threat that Pakistan might attack on Kashmir and take it up, because public was already with Pakistan. So to alter the pressure and to alter the number of force on the border of Kashmir in the line of control, India attacked on a different border of Lahore, and they decided that most of the forces are there on Kashmir border. So in the southern part, or to some extent in the south of Kashmir, Lahore could be taken over. And even they said that they were going to take over Lahore. Just they attacked at midnight, and they decided that they might be doing their lunch in Lahore Gymkhana in the morning. So, but they had to face difficult times here, and most of them were killed who had tried to enter in Lahore. Though there was very less number of soldiers, Pakistani soldiers at that time, Lahoris also supported their army, and Pakistani forces fought with bravery and pushed them back. This war continued for 17 days, and it was suddenly, it was a surprise when India started pleading before United Nations to stop Pakistan army from ascending further, because it was seen at that time that Pakistan army had very bravely almost taken half of even Indian Punjab. Half Punjab is in Pakistan, half Punjab is in India. So Pakistan army had been moving ahead, and they were ascending, and they even themselves didn't know those who were ascending. They were just protecting, they thought they were protecting their lands, and Indian forces had ran away, and they saw that Pakistan army had taken almost many of the parts of Indian Punjab. So they started pleading towards United Nations to stop Pakistan from this, though this war was imposed on Pakistan at midnight by India itself. But now it had to plead before United Nations. So as Pakistan was also the member of United Nations, so Pakistan stopped at that time its armies. Those lands were with Pakistan, and it was a great victory. And heroes of that time were given excellent awards, and they are really respected by Pakistani public. And our army showed such an excellent performance at that time, which is still remembered all the time. Then in 1966, this is Ayub Khan, and this is Indian Prime Minister. So at that time, in 1966, Tashkent Agreement was signed in Soviet Union. India was basically Soviet Union's ally, and Pakistan was the ally of US. But President Ayub Khan thought, he was the president at that time in 1966, he believed that if Pakistan could develop friendly relations with Soviet Union, it could be helpful for the development of Pakistan, because he wanted to increase the industries, and he wanted to increase trade with the neighboring countries. So he thought that if Soviet Union develops better relations with us, so we must listen them it was not we, basically it was only Ayub Khan who thought that. So in 1966 he went to Tashkent alone, and he signed an agreement, and this agreement was of giving those lands of Punjab which were conquered by Pakistan army with full bravery. Those lands were given back to India even without talking about Kashmir, without taking anything. When Ayub Khan came back to Pakistan, everyone was against him, and it was his decision alone. So he was totally blamed for this decision, and he was so much disliked by the public, and he had to face so much opposition from the public that he had to resign, and he left the government. Then elections were held afterwards. These are some times uh, of war. This is the map which is showing that this is Punjab. This comparatively shaded area is Punjab, while this shaded area is part of Punjab in India. So Punjab was overall half in India, half in Pakistan. So this arrow is showing that up to here, Pakistani forces took over in areas of Indian Punjab. And it was surprising for them because Pakistan had very less army, very less ammunition at that time. Even tanks were less, and India had larger army. Its all influx was on the border of Lahore, and these were the miracles of that time. Then relations definitely remained tense because of such a situation. Then that was in 1965 and 66. Just some years after that, in 1971, India thought to take revenge from Pakistan, and it started cultivating on the other side. If we see on the what is the other side? Other side is this one. This area is known as Bengal and Assam, and it was known as East Pakistan at that time. And India started to take revenge. It started cultivating hatred in the people of Bengal in the form of Mukti Bahini. Mukti Bahini and Bengali separatism and establishment of Bangladesh is there is another video in which it is all given in detail with pictures at how it worked, and pressurized Pakistan and pressurized those soldiers who were here to leave this area, and this area was liberated. So that happened in 1971. It was all planned by India, and they Mukti Bahini workers, then Indian naval forces worked for this, and at that time they decided that they were going to give revenge of 1965 war to Pakistan in the form of separating East Pakistan from West Pakistan. Pakistan had a problem that East Pakistan was quite far away. It was 1100 nautical miles away from it. It was difficult to send forces quickly. Air Force was not allowed to pass through Indian airspace, so it had to take a longer route. So in this manner, those 90,000 soldiers who were there in East Pakistan, they were suddenly, when this war started, India started from air, from water, from land, and even Bengalis were favoring India. So in this manner, those 90,000 soldiers were trapped in East Pakistan. They wanted to fight. They were very brave. They fought bravely, but they were given the orders from West Pakistan. General Niazi ordered them to stop fighting, and they had to put down their arms. So in this manner, India took those 90,000 Pakistani soldiers as war prisoners in its country. Indian Field Marshal of that time, Sam Manekshwa, said that the Pakistan Army, these are his exact words in an interview, which can be seen on Google. The Pakistan Army in East Pakistan fought very gallantly, but that had no chance. They were thousands miles away from their base. I had 8 or 9 months to make my preparations. I had the superiority of almost 50 to 1. This was the main problem. And Pakistan, these soldiers could not get more people to fight. They just had no chance, but they fought very gallantly. So finally, East Pakistan became Bangladesh, and later on, these prisoners remained there for almost 1.5 years. And then Zulfikar Ali Bhutto signed an agreement. Let me show you some pictures related to that. Zulfikar Ali Bhutto signed an agreement with India, and then those 90,000 soldiers were brought back. Here, if you see, this was Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, who was the leader of separatism, and he gave a 6 points formula according to which he separated East Pakistan from West Pakistan and instigated the public. This is the time when that agreement was signed. This is General Niazi, and that agreement was signed in which East Pakistan and West Pakistan were separated, and East Pakistan became separate country. These are Mukti Bahini people who were given ammunition by India, and they were fighting against. These were Bengalis, and some of those were Indian Mukti Bahini workers who were working against the Pakistani soldiers who were there to protect their East Pakistani brothers. So in this manner, this kind of situation was there. This is also a kind of set of statues which is there in Bangladesh in the memory of that event of signing of the agreement between forces. Then in 1974, that war was in 1971, this is 3 years after that, India started carrying out nuclear tests quickly. And after carrying out those successful nuclear tests, India started threatening Pakistan. And Pakistan was forced, though Pakistan had not much resources, but Pakistan had to work for nuclear developments to be in competition with India and for its self protection. So Pakistan, even if we had not enough resources, it was said that we will eat grass, but we will have to prepare our nuclear project. And in this manner, Pakistan started, it became compulsory for Pakistan, and Pakistan started Kahuta nuclear project. And though there were lack of resources, but public cooperated with the government, and government was quite positive about it. With grace of Allah, this was fulfilled, and Pakistan also became a nuclear power. In 1998, India shocked the world by testing 5 nuclear devices. But Pakistan could not be left behind, because if Pakistan was not going to show its power at that time, India had the plan to attack on Pakistan. And that was threatening Pakistan also. So at that time, Pakistan in 1999, Pakistan tested 6 nuclear devices to maintain the balance of armed race between both of these nations. So in this kind of situation, how it can be said that there may be peace, there may be friendship, there may be some good relations. United Nations Secretary asked both the countries, because these are largely populated areas and large countries, and both of those are nuclear powers, and both of them have the history of wars, and they are constantly having a bone of contention of Kashmir, also constantly a reason of tussle. So in this manner, United Nations Secretary asked both the countries to sign an agreement of comprehensive test ban treaty, that they were not going to launch further tests because it might be harmful for the land and health and security of those people who were living in this area. India refused it, and when India refused about this kind of agreement, Pakistan remained silent. Because if Pakistan says not to do this, India would start threatening it quickly. So this kind of situation was there. Now, if we are talking about those nuclear missiles and all those things, in the extreme north, there are extremely difficult mountainous areas full of glaciers in Pakistan. And these are the source of water for Pakistan. This is the natural boundary. This is the natural defense line of Pakistan. This Siachen area was very silent area, and there were not much forces, but it was suddenly noticed that Indian forces movement was seen in these Siachen glaciers of Pakistan. Then Pakistan suddenly had to move ahead. It was Benazir's time when in 1988, 89, so Pakistan forces had to move ahead in this area, and they had to take back their area. They had to send their forces to protect it. It's very difficult to live in this part. Igloos are used to live in this part. There are special suits which are used, and special kind of activities and food is used in this area, and it is very expensive to live in this part. But Pakistan had to place its forces here, and every year Pakistan is spending $500 million for the protection of Siachen Glacier, and that is again and again attacked with India. So if we see such a situation, such a situation of attacks, such a situation of constantly trying to grab a country's land and constantly torturing those Kashmiris who are helpless, so that is instigating Pakistan to talk against and to take moves against India. It's an evaluation and a suggestion also. Peace is the only solution for both of these countries. India is the larger country, and Pakistan is a threatened country from India all the time. So if both of these countries wants to develop, they want to understand this thing, that peace is the only solution. But more of it is that India needs to understand that war is not the solution of any dispute. And especially when both of these countries are largely populated countries, so if war starts, loss of life may be very large. So it is very, very important that both of these countries become, if they are not becoming friends, at least they must become silent about such activities, and Kashmiris must be given the right of plebiscite. Same way, Pakistan, India must understand this thing, that Pakistan, it has tried and experienced many times that Pakistan has the full capacity to counter India. So it's very important to think positively, give respect and take respect, give bullet and take missile. So it's very important suggestion. I hope you enjoyed the uh, discussion, and next part 3 is going to tell about the current situation of Muslims in India and current steps which are taken by Pakistan and current situation which may happen related to next upcoming Ghazwa Hind or some other wars. Now let's go, we are going to see that in part 3. I hope you will enjoy that also. That will be uploaded within some days. Subscribe the channel, share it with your friends, and press the bell icon button that you may be able to see part 3, which is even more interesting than this one. Thank you so very much. Take care of yourself. Allah Hafiz. Assalamu alaikum.